religion?
What is the objective truth?
For the religion of Christianity.
The Bible.
Right. What in the Bible demonstrates objective truth?
People's written history of their experience, what has been...
People's experience is subjective. Let's leave it aside. What objective evidence?
People witnessed
If
with
there
their
was
faith with their
if there was
lives.
an accident in Marble Arch and people record it, that becomes a reality that's happened. It's not subjective, it's historical. It's very
Right.
historical.
So let's
It's recorded.
So let me understand what you just said. Let me understand what you just said and see whether you agree with your own paradigm and principle. We read in not one document, in so many documents, in the tomb wall writings of the Egyptians in hieroglyphics, that there's a God of the overworld and a God of the underworld. So many writings over so much period of time. Because people wrote it in so many collective ways. Historical evidence, now according to your criteria, there exists God of the overworld and God of the underworld. Is that what you're saying?
As far as the Egyptians are concerned,
No, objectively.
I go by the Bible, what Bible recorded.
Objectively.
Old Testament and New Testament. Right?
So
when they come,
do you accept now they are God of the underworld and God of the overworld? Do you accept? According to your own criteria, that's objective truth. Because many people were writing it in history. So this is an objective truth. So in reality, there's a God of the overworld and God of the underworld. Isis is true, Osiris is true.
That's the way you describe it.
No, according to your criteria.
Let me tell you what. Should I tell you what my reality is?
No, I'm asking for objective
I'm
truth.
telling you my experience.
I am not interested.
But you're
So
talking-
is there
you're
anyone
talking about
else?
religion. You're
I'm not
talking about
interested.
religion.
I'm not
Talk
interested
about
in your
religion.
personal experience. With all due respect.
You're talking
No.
about your experience.
No, I'm not. Not. I'm not. I don't want to.
You're talking about religion.
No, I do not want to talk about personal experience. I don't want to hear your personal experience. With all due respect to you, right? You may be younger than me, no problem. But with all due respect, I don't want to hear your personal experience, or I want to talk about mine. I was simply asking.
About religion,
Excuse me, no,
Religion, you're talking about religion.
my friend. I want to know the objective truth of Christianity. None of you as Christians can share. Now let me give you the opportunity to hear the objective truth of Islam. Are you ready? Are you ready?
You lied too many times. Yes, he lied too many times.
You are excused because you are not credible. You just make personal attacks.
Why do you believe Bible is true?
Try to walk into the reality.
Because that is where we're talking, for example, why do I believe it's true?
Yeah, why do you believe? Because
It's recorded history.
Okay. So if someone record a history, it becomes true.
What becomes true for me is my
That's
personal
subjective.
It's my personal experience.
then-
That's what's true for me.
Then if I believe,
religion,
okay, no
religion
problem.
is secondary.
No problem.
as far as I'm
If
concerned.
I believe-
Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand. If I believe,
What did you understand what I'm saying?
in your subjective understanding, it is true for you, right? Because of your experience. Because of your
Those were
experience.
not my words.
Okay.
My words were,
Uh-huh.
what I experience is what's real for me.
Okay, yeah, excellent. I agree.
Religion
No problem,
is
sir.
what others
No
tell
problem.
me.
No problem. So a Hindu in India. Let me finish. You talk. I didn't interrupt. Let me finish. A Hindu in India, they saw Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, and they believe Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu in their dream. They saw a vision. Then Brahma came and said, "I am the true God." So do you accept the Hindus believe the Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu they are true God because they experienced it? Do you accept it?
My reply to you is I respect what they believe, and I remain.
But is it true
Does
though?
it make it true? Does it make it true?
It's not
Because someone
respect.
experienced.
It's true for them.
Okay, so now as a Muslim, we understand the Quran, we read the Quran, we know about the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we know about Bible as well, which is false. And now we believe that if we let me now we believe because of our experience, because of our experience, we believe Bible is false, and the historical evidence we can back it up our claim. And for our experience in Islam, we believe Islam is true. Therefore, we are going to heaven. Do you agree?
I don't agree, but if it's what you believe,
Do you agree?
I accept.
Do you agree? My belief is true for me. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to become a Christian? Why?
Because
Did Jesus die for our sins?
I'm not looking for you to become a Christian. I respect you for what you believe.
Okay,
I don't want to
excellent.
change
Do
you.
you want
I don't want to change you.
Do you
I
want?
don't want to
Do
change
you want me
you
to
are happy
believe?
where you are?
Sir,
Are you happy where you are?
yes, I am happy.
Right.
Do you want?
Happy for you.
Okay, excellent. Do you want me to believe in Jesus? You don't want? What? But Jesus said, "Go and preach the Bible."
I told you. I told you what religion means to me.
Okay. Okay. Now
I'll tell you another thing.
Okay.
I'll tell you one other thing. As a vulnerable human being,
Yeah.
if I'm threatened and I think this threat might kill me,
Yeah.
I'll probably call out for some spiritual power.
Who do you call? Do you call God? Do you call God?
A spiritual power.
Who is that?
Whatever it is, I don't know.
So it's not God. It's not God.
It's spiritual.
It is not God.
Spiritual.
Is it God or not?
You with me?
You know, you're a unique Christian, right?
Sorry?
You are a unique Christian.
Very unique
You don't know
Christian.
what I am.
Unique. You're not like the Christians that.
You know what I am.
You need to start your own church.
No, unless you tell us, we don't know.
You see where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
But
but
you are happy where you're coming from. I'm happy for you.
we appreciate the way you feel that you want to be. Everyone should be happy for what they are, but in a world of reality, not in our, thinkings and imaginations. In reality, but one thing is our dreams and imagination, and one thing is reality. I might dream in my dream I am the king, and I'm a dragon, whatever, right? It's my imagination. In reality, I'm none of them. I'm not a king, and I'm not a dragon. In reality, God exists, and He told us how we should live our life so that we can be successful in this life and in the hereafter. He told us that we should not worship the creation, we should not worship the prophets and messengers, we should not associate with Him anyone in worship, like give Him a son or a daughter or a father or a mother or an uncle, whatever. We should not associate partners with Him. And we should follow what He has sent down as guidance. That's what we should be doing. That's what we try to do, because in this lies the success and happiness for everyone. But I want you to be happy. I want me to be happy. But how can I be happy? Is by following the rules and guidance from God. Because He created us and He knows us more than we know ourselves. He knows what's good for us and what is bad for us. He knows what is good for society and what is bad for society. If we were to leave the guidance from God and we started thinking of our own self, how to live a good life, like what Stalin, what Lenin, what Hitler and other people did, they will create havoc and instability and disorder, corruption on the earth and the society. That's why we are in need of the divine guidance, which God gives throughout times to all nations, and the last of them was the Quran with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before that was with Jesus Christ with the Gospels that He sent. Before that was Moses with the Torah that He was sent. So we need to be open to the guidance that God gives us, and then live our life accordingly. Then I will be happy and you'll be happy, and we will stop those evil people from making us unhappy.
We pray for him.
I'll tell you something. I think very much the case. Firstly, as we start our lives in this world as babies, children, youngsters, teenagers, and adults, right? We go through those various stages. Initially, in the hands of our parents, right? And our parents are our example to us and our guidance, initial guidance, right? The initial guidance is our parents, right? You agree? Right. But as we progress as we grow in age and choose what we want to learn as well, as we progress, it's up to us. We decide whether we base our choices by what we have learned or by what others tell us, and as to whether we want to follow a particular religion. It's a very individual choice, isn't it?
So can our choice be wrong?
Of course it can be wrong.
Okay, good. So now you believe in Jesus and me believe in Jesus as well. I believe in Jesus, right? What is the difference in between your belief and my belief?
Firstly, you're still hanging on to religion here, aren't you?
No. I am asking, simply asking that you as an individual, you believe in Jesus, and me as an individual, I believe in Jesus as well. So what's the difference between my belief and your belief about Jesus Christ? What do you believe in Jesus? What's your belief about Jesus?
Apparently, according to biblical history, he existed at some point.
I believe, okay, I believe. Yeah.
That's as far as it goes, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, we accept he existed. Okay, then what? Then what else do you believe? We agree, we're in agreement. Jesus existed, yes. Second?
We presume he existed because we only can go by what has been written.
Okay, that's fine.
Been passed on to us.
We both agree.
Right?
We both agree that Jesus existed. What else do you believe about Jesus?
This is based on what's been passed on to us.
That's fine.
We don't know for sure.
That's fine. We both agree that Jesus existed at a certain point. Now,
He's repeating his own words, but he's not listening to what I'm saying.
What he wants to, because I think you have a particular understanding of Jesus where you are not certain. In our paradigm, there are ways we can be certain of, even of historical information. We can be certain of whether this happened. Normally,
You can't be certain, can you?
normally historians don't talk about certainty. But for us, if history has been transmitted in a particular way, then you can have certainty.
You have
So
a
the
choice.
way-
You have a choice as to whether you accept it or not.
Yeah, but when we are dealing with historical events and narrations, if the information has not been passed on in a robust way, like what you think about the Bible, you cannot be certain. Like you're not certain about what actually did Jesus say that or not.
How can
Correct?
anybody be 100% sure
Yeah, because
that
of
what
the-
is being passed on to us?
Because of the methodology of transmission. But in Islam, look at the difference. I want to give you one difference so that you can understand how. The Quran that we Muslims believe that God gave to our Prophet, last Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Quran, it was given to him as a speech, an oral book.
You're talking about the prophets, right?
No, the book that was given as a speech, he memorized it, make sure people memorized it and wrote it down. So the difference between
Who are you referring to?
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
That's what
wasallam.
I
Yeah.
was saying.
So the Quran, the difference between the Quran or any other historical piece of literature is this. The Quranic transmission is such a scientific, robust transmission that you cannot have a doubt that this is how the Quran was at that time. For example,
How long ago do you understand it to be?
1440 something years ago,
So that's
1400 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to demonstrate something first before you go. Long time ago,
And that's nothing, in terms of history.
no, I want to
that
show
is
you something.
nothing,
I want to show you something. Imagine now, I tell you, if you remember my words, my statement, I will give you £1 million. Easy money. And the word is like this: God is one. 3 words. God is one. 1 million for £1 million. You would say, I'll try to remember it. What did I say? These 3 words?
God is one, you said.
God is one. Even without the money, you remember it. But suppose I said, if you remember these words, you memorize it, you get so much reward in the hereafter in paradise. Not only £1 million, endless joy and bliss and tranquility. So what they did, these people at that time, when the Prophet received the Quran, they memorized this word for word, letter for letter, sentence for sentence, so that they don't make a mistake. Now, brother, what I said is, God is one. Now, if I now taught this, God is one, with this exchange of reward, £1 million, £1 million, £1 million, or heaven, right? you'd memorize it. Now, say something different to what I said.
God is three.
Is that right? What did I teach you?
God is one.
What did I teach you?
You said
God is-
your words. Your words.
My words were?
I'm repeating your
No,
words.
what was my word?
Your words were God is one.
God is one.
Yeah.
So now we will immediately correct.
I
No,
know where
no,
you're coming from.
I'm demonstrating. Immediately we would correct any mistakes happening. You'd say, no, you have got it wrong, you're mistaken. Either you've got a memory shortage, something like that, or you're actually saying something what I didn't say. So other people will correct me straight away. What did I say? God is one. You see, he will be the outlier and we would not take his word. This happened on day one. It's very important to understand that. The next day, next month, next year, generations of people learned that God is one. They passed that information by generation. Can I finish? It's very important. Because it's a difference between Chinese whisper, between a Chinese whisper and saying things in public, making people memorize with this reward in place, and multiple witnesses, right? So the next generation did the same thing. They learned God is one and transmitted to another generation. And this continued until to this day. So to this day, when people read the Quran and recite the Quran, if they make a single mistake of one letter, he will correct it. He will correct it. He will correct it. He will correct it. That's how the transmission of the Quran is so robust that we are certain, not probabilistic knowledge, certain that the Quran is what the Prophet spoke then. That's why we are different.
The thing is that we don't need to go back. We look at how things happen today, right? In terms of what is being passed on as to what is truth. There is evidence, and you have to produce evidence to substantiate your claim, right? You have to produce evidence to
Substantiate, to support.
support.
Correct. I agree with you.
Right.
So far you've said
It's not Chinese
we
whisper.
exactly.
This is different.
Okay.
Chinese whisper.
So
is
I want
different,
to
right?
test something like this, what you just said. I agree with you, but if we were to put this in test, let's look at all the Bibles that we have today, whether they go back in history being the same. Let's look at the Quran, whether they go back in history and whether the same. What do we discover? The Bibles are different. The Quran, the same. That's
Not only
the.
in past, but also in the present. You take the copy from India.
If you were to destroy all Qurans in written form, in CDs, in DVDs, in the internet, whatever, if you were to destroy all of the Bible, no, one second, it's important, thought experiment. If we were to destroy all copies of the Bible, audio, video, in every single format, destroy the Quran and destroy the Bible, is it possible, do you think, we can bring the Bible exactly as it was?
Absolutely.
Is it possible? How?
I think that
If you destroy
Everything, yeah.
you wouldn't actually be able to identify what the Quran is.
How would we bring it back, the Bible?
Well, the Bible message is so pervasive.
Excuse me, he's a-
that it's
wait, can I ignore him?
everywhere. It's in every
You
tradition
know,
around the world.
the
We have,
reason
for example, Christmas,
why
Easter,
they
those
cannot
don't
bring
vanish
the
until
Bible, all of it,
disappears.
is because
So
the
all
words
they
of the
would
Bible,
be able to trace
the
them
contents,
back,
let's come here because he's just heckling in my ears.
and that you have also quotations
The,
from an earlier
if
source that tell you
everything
what they are.
of the Bible, right, was destroyed, including the writings of the church fathers, everything, nothing, then no one can bring the Bible back. Do you know why? Because people haven't memorized it. But the Quran has been memorized. Sorry, where are you? The Quran has been memorized by thousands and millions of people in every time period, including today. So even a child of 6-year-old from somewhere in Indonesia
But that doesn't mean that they understand
can
what it
bring
means.
the whole of the
So
Quran
if
back
somehow you're able to
from memory,
back and forth,
word for word, letter for letter. And it will be supported by millions of others testifying that's exactly what we memorize it as well, which was written down. Yeah. That's the difference between certainty of our religious book and certainty of other religious books. Why didn't they memorize it? We ask, why didn't they memorize the Bible? They should have, but they didn't. That's how they corrupted it. And that's why the Quran says they forgot a good part of this message and they changed it with their own hands.
Respected interpretations. You have respected interpretations of what has been passed on by several people, professors who have studied the subject, who can share it between them, who respect each other, who are respected collectively around the world about the particular subject we are talking about here, the history of mankind, which is only going back, 5,000 years? Which is nothing in terms of the existence of this world.
Is there a particular reason why
it's still a lot to be learned. A lot still to be learned. But we're still talking here about religion.
Correct.
Which is a man's idea.
Religious history.
Man's idea.
Now, what if, think about it, what if,
You agree or not? You agree or not? It's a man's idea.
no, I want to respond to that.
Yes or no?
I'm going to respond.
How do you then
What if God truly exists? What if God truly sends revelation and appoints prophets and messengers? How would we know that? By examining it.
Why didn't the Muslims memorize it?
By examining it.
Okay, all right.
Maybe
Knowledgeable people,
it would have been helpful.
experts, can examine the Quran.
Like who?
And when they look at the Quran, they know this cannot be from God, other than God. Has to be from
So
God.
you're going back to history, recorded history.
No, I am saying,
And learned people who have
what I'm saying,
What they say about
whatever it's been transmitted from history, if we examine the contents of the Quran now, we find Quran offers falsification tests.
let's find
You can tell him to stop shouting.
I have more hair on my head. It's
a free country.
Manners on hair than I have plenty.
Okay.
You need to have some self-respect, not to just heckle people,
Here's what I'm preaching.
If you don't have the basic self-respect
Yeah.
for yourself.
So the Quran offers what we call falsification.
Does it normally chase you?
He's a heckler. He's a heckler.
every
Heckler, their whole purpose is to interrupt a discussion.
Let's question him. Let's see what he's going to do.
No, that's what he wants. That's exactly what he wants. He wants to interrupt the discussion. He wants to interrupt the discussion and then talk about something else. So what we're saying,
And you're
the Quran offers what we call falsification tests. These tests, if applied, it can demonstrate whether the Quran is actually indeed true in its claim or false in its claim.
your God is the only God.
So when this falsification test is applied, we realize that the Quran cannot be falsified. One of those tests is this. Quran says if you have a doubt,
I recently learned about the
of course.
Mubahala. Are you familiar with the tale? It turns out that your
Support
prophet is
my understanding that the Quran
and when they didn't agree that he was a prophet,
what was
he then
brought together in
that
terms
they
of
should actually comply or perform a Mubahala.
a sensible way to address life and how to live
Are you
it
leaning on me? Be careful.
by learned people
They can see the
and
when
to
they
pass
performed the
on
Mubahala,
this way
the
of
monks
life.
withdrew because the monks know that their
principle.
God doesn't curse people. What your God does. Now, isn't it funny that when Muhammad did the
describe that
Mubahala,
as-
he said to bring your children and
part
your
of
wives.
it.
So Muhammad
I've understood your question, which is this.
as your
Would I consider Quran is a product of learned people to describe how to live your life sensibly and so on? There's two parts to this question. First part is who brought the Quran and why they brought it. The second part, indeed, the Quran talks about how to live your life sensibly.
Originally by a prophet.
I'm addressing both parts. Quran indeed talks about how to live your life in the best possible way, by compassion, by mercy, by love, by fairness, by justice. Quran talks about it. This is how you should live your life, not by intolerance, not by hatred. The Quran says God created languages nations and tribes, not that you should despise of each other, but to recognize each other.
Why is it practiced?
We practice what it says, some people don't. That's a bad apple. That's a bad apple.
No,
Every-
you're a bad apple, Mansur. You're rotting
Maybe.
like one.
Every religion has bad apples.
Yes, Mansur. And you are the baddest apple of
He looks like he
Islam.
might be
That's why you
practicing
keep
too.
getting more
He does, he
spots
does.
in your face.
Every religion has the bad apples, right? These people, we are the outliers, we exclude them. They are the ones problem makers in society. They make problems. So the first part of your question is, learned people brought it together for a noble purpose. We say no, it's not like this. In our view, as the Quran says, it is a revelation, a guidance sent by God Himself to a Prophet Muhammad to give it to the people. So the source is not people, the source is God, but it's for the people.
So are you saying, so let me ask you something.
I don't know, that's how you heard
Are you going back to Ismail and Isaac? Are you going back to that start point?
No, even further, to Adam. We are all children of Adam. How can I hate you? When you are a children of Adam, so am I. Quran and Islam diminishes, totally annihilates racism.
Take me back to the Garden of Eden, please.
The way to do that is by submitting and surrendering your will to the will of God expressed in the Quran in Islam. Become a Muslim, then you go back to the Garden. Because Islam is that initial state of belief and practice.
In a happy place, I'm happy for you. If it keeps you in a happy place, I'm happy for you.
But we want to be happier. Not happy, happier.
Now, this is a problem. This is the problem.
Why?
What we should be doing is bringing up our children the way we think is the best way, right? And leave other people and respect other people, not try and change them. This is the mistake.
But this is where I would humbly disagree with you, and the reason is this. The reality is there is a heaven and hell that God created. That's the reality. I may not like it. I may not like hell to exist where people will suffer. You may not like it either. But
I think it's the hell we make.
But what I'm saying, in reality,
We do not want to force them.
we don't want people to go to hell. We don't want people to suffer. But
How will it happen? If I let you live your life the way you want to live it, and you let me live my life the way I want to live, if we carry like that,
that's possible.
be in heaven.
That is possible. But you can have happiness in this life with an expense of happiness in the hereafter. Because God can give someone happiness in this life, but nothing in the hereafter. Instead, suffering in the hereafter. He said, if you want hereafter, if you want eternal happiness, if you want an abode, a place of living forever and forever in happiness and joy, in bliss, in contentment, in tranquility, this is what you have to do. In this life, men can decide not to believe in God and try to live their life happily. Some people do that without believing in God. But what we are saying is, they then what? They forsake the happiness in the hereafter. God says the only way you can have happiness in the hereafter, which is your permanent abode hereafter, is by following His guidance.
You're coming back to hereafter as well. You're going to hereafter as well.
Because it's permanent. Here is temporary.
Nobody's come back to tell me how things are in the hereafter yet. Has
But
somebody
that's
come
not
back to you?
okay. I can respond to that. No one has to come back to tell me, for me to know that hereafter exists. You are saying someone has to tell.
I don't think that's. I don't know if that exists. Or
No,
doesn't
what I'm
exist.
saying.
I don't. Nobody's come back to tell me.
How come you said you were a
One is
Christian?
living form in the dead form. The dead form is the
If you are confused about whether you believe in hereafter or not,
I told
He's
you.
not. He's a unique Christian.
yeah, it's very unique.
No. I tell you, I said to you, if you remember what I said to you, what is real for me is what I experience.
Yes, he said that. That's what that. So
Full stop.
that's fine. That's
your
fine.
view. We respect your position.
No, that's fine. I'm not taking your experience away. But what I'm saying,
Let
if you
let me just finish my sentence.
sure. Sorry.
If he says, if this gentleman here, you may not know, I presume you might know him, but suppose you didn't know him, right? And he comes and tells you something that is so convincing that somehow you're only a human being, he manages to shift your thought a little bit, your way of thinking, your understanding, just a little bit. Will that make it true for you? Because it wouldn't make it true for me. Because it wouldn't be my experience, it would be his experience, not my experience.
So that's why we say, look, when we talk about our personal experiences, we cannot make this an arbiter for truth. That this experience will determine what is true and what is not true. We cannot make that. The reason being, you can have one experience, and I can have another experience, totally different and contradictory to yours. What I think reality is. I can have experience that there is God, there is hereafter, there is heaven, there is hell. I can have that experience. But my experience does not and should not determine that that's objectively true.
So then does that mean that Muhammad
That is why we take ourselves away from this boundary of subjectivity and look at objective evidence.
Depends what we're talking about. Whether we're talking the eating of an apple or how we
Bigger
see the
things,
world.
bigger
right?
things, how we see the world, bigger things. That's why we say the Quran gives us evidence for its divine origin and then tells us there is heaven and hell. Don't do the works that will take you to hell. Do the works that will take you to paradise. And we want to share that with you because no Muslim wants someone else to go to hell. They want everyone to go to heaven. But there's some people, they make themselves deserving and go to hell. And we can't stop that because it's their free will. So people who commit genocide, people who rape, for example, insult God and become a rebel in God's kingdom, when they make themselves deserving of and his punishment, we can only remind them this is the wrong path to take. It is not going to be made for you to give you eternal happiness in the hereafter. You will make your way to hell if you do that. That's what we try to do. So it is not something that you say, look, let people do whatever they want to do. We have a moral obligation and a responsibility, once we know the difference between the right way and the wrong way, to warn people of the wrong way.
May I add an example to this?
It just gave me a long explanation, right? So just now, I just want to reply to it. Just simply that.
So you can add your reply.
We come away from this guy.
You can
Headache.
He's saying you are a headache.
reply.
He's saying you are a headache.
It's okay. Let's go. They're all following us again.